Hi, I'm Daniel Robinson. Welcome to Plumpy Thimble. I'm always pretty excited when I see games take themes that are really underutilized. For instance, the theme of expanding one's influence in whether that be the world or the galaxy, or you're expanding your kingdom, or you're gaining influence in the world. Really, that is a theme that we don't see all that often. If I'm being unclear, I'll just let you know now I'm being sarcastic. The theme of improving one's situation or power, whether that be in a region, a galaxy, an ancient kingdom, whatever it is, that's an incredibly popular theme. Tag along with that the sort of generic fantasy theme with elves and dwarves and all that, and those two themes, mechanics, just that all-encompassing aura is something that we see a lot of in board games, which is why I was originally not super excited to be reviewing the game that we're talking about today. But yeah, that was my initial reaction going into this. I want to explain why that changed a little bit when I got a chance to play it. Now again, that thought process was just based off of the description of the game. The game we're looking at today is Villages of Valeria. Villages of Valeria is published by Daily Magic Games, and it takes sort of the mechanics of Race for the Galaxy or games like San Juan, and it attempts to streamline and improve upon that gameplay. Now when I heard about the mechanics of the game, that's what kind of excited me about it, because I don't have very many games in my collection that use the multi card mechanic, where you can use a card either as currency, or you can use it as a building. You can build it as a building, or you can use it as currency. If you're not familiar with these types of games, you've got, they're pretty much just played with cards. And the cards can be either used to make payments towards building other cards, putting them in front of you, or they can be used as currency. So they're one or the other. They're either the building, or they're the resource that you use to build other buildings, other cards. So quickly, this is kind of how the game works.
Okay, I'm going to quickly go over the actions in Villages of Valeria. The game ends when a certain number of cards, depending on the amount of players you have, are placed in front of each player. And you're spending your turns trying to either recruit these heroes into your village, or to improve your village with different buildings. So each player starts the game with a number of cards in their hand. They start out by taking one of the cards, and you'll notice that there's the top part here. This is the cost to build a building. This is the benefit that it brings. Shield is the amount of points that it has, and this icon is the types of heroes that it'll attract. So for instance, the mercenary, you'd need to have one of these buildings, a military building and a skullduggery building built, and you could attract him. But at the start of the game, you take this, and you pick one card, and you flip it upside down and put it behind your castle. Now that becomes a resource that you can use throughout the course of the game. So you get a fancy bubble there. And I'll explain that in a second, because on your turn you take one of a number of actions here. So the first thing you can do is you can harvest, and you can just draw 3 cards and add them to your hand. That can be 3 from the top, or it can be a mixture of just taking these cards here. You never draw the hero deck. Those are separate. You recruit them. So I would say, take this, that'd be 1, and take 2 from the top. So that'd be that. Now anyone else that's playing, if I harvest, they can follow along and they can draw a single card. So I have to keep in mind that if I do harvest, everyone else also gets a card. And there's an action like that for everything else in the game. So there's also develop. If I were to develop, I can discard a card and add 1 card to my castle as a resource. Now discarding doesn't just go away. I'd have to take a card and place it on top of one of these other cards so that players could potentially take that and cover it up. And I could take a card and boost my resource pool here. And now I have 2 bubbles, and everyone starts with a wild that they can grab as a resource. Consequently, if I develop, people can discard 2 cards to add 1 card to their castle. And this is all not on their turn, so they can take this. The next action that I could take is build. If I were to build, I just need to provide the resources to add a building to my village, and I'd get to draw a card. Now I can build any card from my hand. So let's take this one for example. It just takes 1 wood to build. I don't have any wood in here, but I do have a wild. So I would take one of these coins, and you start out with a certain number, and you can kind of get them throughout the game. And I would place it there to indicate that I'm spending that wild to, build my archery range. So I place that in front of me. It's worth 0 points up front, but it's got an initial effect that takes place immediately. And then I'm stuck. I can't use this coin until my turn. Once my turn starts, I take any coins that I have on my cards here and I get them back. Now, if someone on their turn wanted to build and they say they needed a bubble but they didn't have it, they could place one of their coins on mine there and I would get to keep that. At the start of my turn, it would just go into my inventory. So you can buy resources from other people, but it eats up your coins. Now, people can build after me. It just, they don't get the advantage of drawing a card. The next action is to recruit. I can pay a coin to the bank, so it's gone until I get more money, and attempt to recruit one of these heroes to my village, depending on what they're looking for in a village. So I need to have matching symbols. The follow action for that is anyone could do the same thing, just to cost them twice as much. The final action I can do is tax, and all that is I get to collect a gold from the bank, and I get to draw a card. The follow action for that is just to draw a single card.
I think it's safe to say Villages of Valeria really surpassed my expectations for what this type of game would be. In particular, and I have that bias that I said at the beginning towards the theme and the setting. It's there, but if the game is good enough, I can easily overlook it. And I mean, the artwork in this game really is pretty fantastic. My concern was that the art would be overly busy, and the backs of the cards are, while really cool looking, I still think it's pretty busy for what it needs to be. Regardless, the art is very cool looking. I mean, the backs of the cards are detailed, they're vibrant, the front of the card, you know, for just a game that consists primarily of cards and not much else, the space is really utilized, so it really saturates your gameplay with the flavor that it's trying to portray, which is, it's a great thing. Now, it definitely benefits from a higher player count. This is, I did test it out, the solo variant. It was too long and too complicated for too light of a game for a single player playthrough. Now, it's got it. If that's something you're interested in, at least that option is available to you and it's something you could use. I was not a huge fan of it. It wasn't terrible, but there's other solo games that I enjoy more and would play before I'd play this one solo. That being said, it's a pretty good 2-player game and a much better 3, 4, 5-player game. The idea that you can follow along with a lesser version of the action that's being played really means that you have to make the correct choice when it's your turn, because the action that you pick is going to affect what everyone else's choices are, which is going to affect who's going to win the game. It's a pretty cool little concept where your decision makes this ripple effect with every other player in the game. And also, if you need to use their resources, you're giving them your coins, and that's it. Like if you have to pay someone for their resources, they get your money and they can use it to further their cause. It's pretty cool that way. When looking into this game, there's obvious comparisons to Race for the Galaxy. I've given my opinion on it. The fact is, Race for the Galaxy is a super popular game that comes in close to the price point here, and arguably is a much deeper game. It's not, Race for the Galaxy isn't a game that I'm jumping to go out and buy. I enjoy the weight and the length of this game and the complexity, which is, in my opinion, quite a bit less. There's less of a learning curve for this game than there's for Race for the Galaxy. How does it compare to San Juan, which is another similar game that I like? I think I like San Juan a little bit better. I don't own the physical version of San Juan. I just play it on my tablet. That being said, I will probably keep Villages of Valeria in my kingdom as far as a physical game goes, and I don't really have a need for San Juan, like the actual physical version. I don't need a digital version of Villages of Valeria. They're similar enough games that I enjoyed both of them, but I don't need to seek the other one out on a different platform. Overall, if you're looking for sort of a mid-weight card game where you use where the cards have multi-functions, this is one that I would recommend. At least one that I would recommend that you look into. I'd say if you're looking for something like this, look into Race for the Galaxy, San Juan, and Villages of Valeria. Out of the three, I would say Villages of Valeria is sort of in the middle in terms of weight and complexity. So really do your research, but I have no problem recommending this game. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to playing it again. I have not had a chance to play it at 5-player, and I'm really looking forward to giving that a shot. The components are really cool, the art is awesome, and just the whole package really is top-notch in regards to what you're paying and what you're getting. So I do recommend Villages of Valeria. Check it out. And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks.